Hi, my name is Heather Marie, and I am the host of Author Experts. And we are here today with a very special guest, Dr. Rob Kelly with Read USA. Can you please tell us a little bit about your organization?
Yeah, I'm happy to. And thank you for having me here today. So, Read USA is an education nonprofit focused on workforce development and literacy. And we have a unique approach that combines the two because we think that illiteracy is a workforce problem. So, we're helping to teach young children how to read on grade level through a workforce development model where we hire teens and train them to be one-to-one tutors, and we pay them as a job and
Amazing.
provide on the job coaching for those teens to help improve grade level reading. And then the other thing that we do as a major program is providing book access to kids. So we also believe that kids need to have books that they're interested in reading.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Not just
Yes.
books, but books that they want
They
to read.
want to read.
That's right.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Because some kids, they might not necessarily like reading, but if it's a topic that they love, I'm sure you've seen it, that they're more enjoying it, so they're going to read it. Like if they like space or they like cars or whatever they like, there's so many options out there that we can find something for them for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like adults too.
Yes.
If we go to the bookstore,
Yeah.
we wouldn't want someone telling us what section to pick a book out of.
Absolutely.
Right? We're going to go to the
Yes.
sections we're interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Can you share some of the most impactful or inspiring stories you've witnessed through Read USA's work here in Duval County?
Yes. There are so many stories to share. So I've thought about which ones are do I think are the most inspiring to me. One is we work with a lot of teens who at the beginning, they hear that we're hiring for a job and they go, I want a job. I want to make some money. Right. And then they get into this and they go, oh, wow, this is a job. Right. I've got work to do. I'm responsible for teaching these kids and for planning a lesson. And it's hard work.
Yeah.
And so some of these teens have the transformation that has happened with them that they report. This isn't just me making an observation. These are transformations where one teen in particular, when he started with us, he was, he said, I was doing it because I wanted to make some money. But through this work, he was so impacted by the change that he was seeing, that he was helping make in these young kids, that he was even considering, and when I think about it now it makes me laugh a little bit, but he was even considering not taking his college scholarship because he thought he needed to stay here and continue to tutor. Right?
That shows how much an impact that you've made on his life.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Well, and how much impact the children that he's tutoring have made. So it's a reciprocal thing,
that is
right?
Amazing.
He's
That's
giving
so
to them, they're giving to him.
Yeah.
So we assured him and said, no, you need to go to college. You need to take advantage of the scholarship. But you know what? When you come back in the summer, if you come back to Jacksonville after college, we're still here and you can support us in different ways.
That is so cool.
Isn't that cool?
That is really, really cool. Yes.
And then I remember one day we had a parent who came to us and she sent us an email in Spanish. The parent did not speak English. She wrote us an email in Spanish and we took the email and put it into Google Translate. And I started to read this email and I was in tears. This mom explaining how that her son came to school. He entered school here in the 4th grade. He did not know English, not a word. And he had been, at school and really just was quiet, didn't want to go to school, head hung down, didn't really want. And through Read USA tutoring, he got paired up with a bilingual tutor, a tutor who spoke English and Spanish.
Oh, that's so cool.
And that tutor was able to help him learn some of the foundations of reading And that student, by the end of the year, was nearly reading on grade level.
That is amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That
and
is
the mom was
amazing.
just in awe, not only of the academic progress the kid had made,
Yeah.
but the transformation in the whole attitude
Right.
of now he was excited to go to school.
That's
right?
so cool.
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm sure going into it, he wasn't. He
That's
was probably scared and reluctant to going.
Right.
So he really helped change his viewpoint. So
Right.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
So what specific programs or resources has Read USA implemented that has shown the greatest improvement in children's reading levels?
So the number one thing that we do is that shows improvement is the tutoring.
Mhm.
And in the tutoring program, we have two different, we call them scales.
Okay.
Okay. So some people might say you have two different curriculums, and we say,
Right.
yeah, we do, but we look at it on a continuum.
Mhm.
We have one continuum that we look at of the reading foundations, where when we get these kids in our program, we first do a diagnostic because
Right.
we want to see where
they're at.
they are.
Yep.
And we're not looking to see where they are on the state test
Right.
because that really just tells us they're not reading at grade level.
Yeah.
We want to see what needs they have specifically.
Right.
So we're looking at their phonological awareness
Mhm.
and their phonics abilities. And so we have a curriculum that provides specific support in those areas if they need it. And then we also look at where they're at in terms of reading comprehension and writing.
Right.
So those are interrelated, but they're two distinct separate pieces whenever you are trying to teach foundational skills and then trying to teach comprehension and writing about what you've read.
Absolutely.
So we combined two curriculum pieces. We married them together and have written our own lessons. We have almost 950 lessons.
Wow.
And the reason for that is we want to incorporate book choice into our tutoring program. So at every reading level, if you're at first grade first month or first grade third month or second grade fifth month, there are about 50 to 60 books on each of those levels that kids can choose from.
That is amazing. And these books are free for them?
Well, they're in our curriculum.
In your curriculum.
Right.
Okay.
And so we have a catalog that they flip through and they go, I want to read that book.
That is so cool.
The tutor prepares that lesson,
Right.
pulls the pre-written lesson and prepares it and tailors it for that kid. The next day when the kid comes, here's the book they've chosen. The tutor has a lesson. Student is automatically engaged because they chose the book.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So why is it so critical for students to be reading at grade level by third grade? And what long-term effects does this have on their academic and personal success? Because I know here in Duval County, we are below the standards.
Yes. I brought some notes with me to talk about that because there's so much to say. But here's the picture. So first of all, I want to say when you think about literacy or illiteracy, there's 5 areas that we think about. Number one, and I think is the most important outcome, is how does that impact health?
Right.
We know that about 90 million adults in the United States, out of the 360 million people in the United States, have limited health literacy, meaning they have difficulty reading prescriptions or following directions on prescriptions, reading and understanding diseases that they have.
Right. And
that not only impacts their life expectancy, but it's costs up to $238 billion a year.
That's a lot of money.
Right? That's right. In avoidable cost if we can help people read on grade level.
Yeah.
It affects incarceration rates.
Yep.
About 70% of incarcerated people
70%.
Are illiterate. Employment, you are 4 times more likely to be unemployed if you have if you are functionally illiterate. That means you read below 6th grade, or illiterate. You're more likely, you're 72% more likely to be in the lowest reading levels if your parents are have low levels of literacy or
Right.
illiterate. So
Yeah.
adult literacy is just important as the
Right.
kids, right?
Because they can't help the children if they're not literate themselves.
That's right. And then the
Yes.
other thing that we look at is poverty. And we know that about 75% of people who are receiving some kind of government assistance are reading at the lowest levels, either functionally illiterate or illiterate.
Yeah.
So that is huge. So
That
we
is
know that
huge.
so there are many reasons why we need to tackle illiteracy.
Right, absolutely. So, going into that, how can we better bridge the gap for children who fall behind in literacy at an early age, knowing that becoming a confident reader is often the first step towards becoming a capable, contributing individual in society?
Mhm. We look at it as there's a three-pronged approach here. And actually, currently, there's really a four-pronged approach. So we look at it as we need to support parents and families
Right.
of what characteristics, what environments promote reading readiness at home.
Right.
We need to support teachers in giving them the best training possible to know how to teach kids, not that those kids that reading comes easy to, but know how to help the kids that reading does not come easy to.
Yes.
We need to also prepare our teens using those literacy skills. How do you utilize those literacy skills to be an effective worker? How to use those skills to communicate effectively, to demonstrate leadership, responsibility, things like that.
Yes.
And then I'm going to add a fourth one in there. Because those things have not happened like they should have in the past several decades.
Right.
We now have to add in intervention. So intervention at all stages to help bridge the gap. But you know what? That intervention cannot be forever.
Right.
That needs to be a short-term solution.
Yes.
Until we get systems in place where they need to be at the family level, at the school level, and then at the workforce level.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how does Read USA work with schools, families, and community partners to make books and literacy support more accessible for these low-income children and families?
Yeah. Our partners are key. We have partnerships across a wide sector. First of all, we have a strong partnership with the school district. So here in Duval County, we have a strong partnership with Duval County Public Schools and charter schools and those who are in private school, homeschool, virtual school, micro school. There are so many different schooling options now, right? So we have to look outside of just the school district, because our when we talk about who are we serving, we're not serving buildings.
Right.
We're serving children. So we go to where those children are.
Yes.
So school district and school partners are a huge a part of Read USA. But we also have our government partners. The City of Jacksonville and Kids Hope Alliance, a tremendous funder and partner to us to be able to do this work.
They're amazing.
They're amazing.
I see Kids Hope Alliance everywhere. I see Read USA everywhere.
Right.
I mean, you guys are really joined together.
That's
the
right.
City of Jacksonville, they're amazing. And
That's
I know
right.
Donna Deegan with River City Readers, what she's doing is phenomenal as well. And
That's
everyone is a team, and all of you guys are working together, and it's really making a difference here in Duval for sure.
Absolutely. And how fortunate are we that we have a mayor that's put her stake in the ground to say literacy is important, right? But also, we look at our business partners. We have some tremendous business partners that have been with us for many years. I think about, I'll give a shout out to ViStar Credit Union. Not only do they give us funding, which is important, but their employees volunteer with us. We have several hundred volunteers that we need just to carry out our book fairs. So we probably have 500 to 600 volunteers a year that help us with our book programs all year long. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, that is a lot.
So they dedicate that to us. They give us opportunities to partner with them, to use space, to provide expertise They come in and help our teens, train them in financial literacy. So
That's amazing.
So when you have a partner like that, that
Yes.
really wraps around you and says, we're not
Yes.
just going to write you a check. We're going to really help you in all aspects of business.
Yes.
That's incredible. And then, of course, we have our individual donors. Those individuals out there who are advocates, philanthropists, supporters in the
Right.
community that give us money so that we can sustain our programming from year to year. So it really is those partnerships and donors
Yes.
that allow us to continue this work.
And while we're on this topic, so I know the Department of Education is a hot topic right now. I know many parents, teachers, individuals, including myself, are very worried about the talk about the Department of Education closing and what that means with impact on the budgets, the budget cuts for programs like yours with Read USA. Like, how does that going to impact Read USA and other organizations like yourself? And how is that going to impact programs like children that have an IEP or children that receive free lunches?
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people in our community is really worried about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, from what I understand, and I've done some research myself on this to
Yes.
really understand what's going on. So, I'm going to separate the political part of this from just the logistical part.
Right.
Okay, so removing the politics as much as we can
Right.
out of this for right now. The Department of Education at the federal or national level really is not written into either the Constitution or any other federal requirements or rights that we have. Education is a state's right.
Right.
So we have 50 states and we have 50 different managers, so to speak, of education through those states.
Yeah.
The Department of Education was created to funnel money through for those things that you said,
Right.
for students with disabilities,
Yes.
for students in low income families, and a large part of it was for research.
Right.
So what I've seen is that the main funding that went through the Department of Education that was for K-12 education.
Right.
That is students with disabilities, students from low income families, free reduced lunch, that kind of thing. Those funds are being diverted through other departments. So the Department of Health and Human Services
Right.
and the Department of Labor. The remaining functions that the Department of Education had, which were largely research efforts, those are the pieces that have been
Really
impacted and cut.
Okay.
So K-12 education has not immediately seen an impact on funding as a result of the closure of the Department of Education. Right. It's mainly our higher education and research institutes.
Which is still very, very important.
Very
important.
important.
Thank you for clarifying this because I know there is so many things going on around the internet, social media, even the news, and it's hard to really pinpoint of what is reality and what is just out there to scare everyone.
Right.
So with that being said, with funding being such a challenge right now, what are the most urgent needs for Read USA is facing, and how can listeners of our community, members of our community, help?
I'm so glad you asked that. So I'm going to talk to the viewers for a second and tell them, Read USA really relies on funding from a lot of different sources. And some of those sources recently have been cut. And again, I'm not going to go into the reasons behind the cuts, but the reality is that the money is not there anymore. So what we're trying to do now is we're making sure that our funding sources are very diversified, that we're not putting our eggs in one basket, so to speak. So one of the most important pieces of that puzzle are the individuals, the family foundations, and the businesses that give to nonprofits like Read USA. Those are the most consistent funders we have. Government funding, contracts, things like that, those are not as consistent or reliable as the individuals who are passionate and support missions like Read USA has. So I would say, in a financial sense, those individuals and businesses, we need your support more than ever. Another way to support us, though, is through volunteer efforts. So there are tasks and there are events and there are programs that we can carry out. And instead of paying staff to do that, we can have volunteers help us out. So that's another way that we can make up lost funding, is through our volunteer efforts. And then another way is through the partnerships, like I talked about with the example from ViStar, is if you have expertise that you want to give to our organization, or you have a space that we can use for an event, or you have somebody who maybe wants to serve on our board. Those are great ways to get involved with our organization and help continue to support this mission.
Yes, and please support Read USA because they are phenomenal. They have a huge impact in Duval, and not only in Duval, they're hoping to expand outside of Duval as well. But they need help and they need funding. Looking ahead, what is your vision for the future of Read USA and the role it can play in transforming literacy outcomes beyond Duval County?
Well, we already have a plan for that, and that plan was paused because of the recent AmeriCorps cuts that we experienced. So we had a plan to utilize AmeriCorps funding, which is a national service funding through the federal government, and through Volunteer Florida at the state level. We had a plan to go into another county in Florida and into South Georgia with that funding this coming school year. But those plans have changed, and that's okay. We still have the plan in place.
Right.
So what we're focused on now is we've done the hard work of making the plan, and we know we have a program that's scalable. Now what we need is the funding. And so we're not going to rely on the government funding, and we're not going to hover or perseverate on that.
Right.
We're going to look for what other funding is out there. So we know it's out there.
Yes.
And we know there's people out there that can help us connect us to that funding.
Yes.
And so that's another thing that your viewers can do is if you know of a grant out there, you know of a foundation, you know of a funding source out there that you think we should look into, let us know. Because we really are, I meant when I said pause, the plan is pause, not stopped. Just paused, just until we get the funding.
That's amazing. So how do our viewers find you? How do they find Read USA? How do they help with community service with you, with helping you, with maybe if they do find a grant, how would they contact you and give you that information? Or maybe there's a donor out there that's ready to donate right now. How do they find you?
Easiest way is to go on our website, www.readusainc.com. There's a donate button on there. There's a volunteer button on there to sign up to be a volunteer.
Okay.
And then there's also information about all of our programs. So that's the easiest one-stop place to go.
That is awesome. So Rob, it was an absolute pleasure having you here with us today. Thank you for everything you have done and continue to do through Read USA for our youth in our community and beyond. I am so excited for the opportunities and amazing outcomes that are going to happen with you. And I know you said your plan is paused, but it will absolutely happen. And I love what you're doing and the positive impact you've made. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Heather. Glad to be here.
Thank you for watching another episode of Author Experts. This is Heather Marie. Have an amazing day.